Dear Lillian, you're about to walk the Via della Plata. Great choice. I loved that route. What you say is true that when people talk about the Camino, they usually mean the Camino Frances. That route is popular, of course, because of the infrastructure of albergues and the frequency of stopping places. But there are many other routes, and I chose to walk the Via della Plata first. I'll show you the pictures in a couple of moments. It was very rewarding. I loved walking alone and meeting local people in rural Spain. When I came to walk the Camino Frances, it was rather a culture shock meeting so many other pilgrims. Before setting out, I had no idea what pilgrimage meant. Basically, I thought I was going for a long walk. Someone said to me, "John, give yourself to the serendipity of the Camino." Again, I had no idea what they meant. Now I realise that over and over again people were kind to me. They directed me where to find a bed. They pointed out where the arrows were when I couldn't find them. Sometimes they paid my bar bill when I wasn't looking. One day I was walking into Merida. You'll see the photograph. I was very tired. As I crossed the Roman bridge, people going home from work came towards me. A voice rang out in Spanish. "Hola, peregrino." Hello, pilgrim. This was Anna, a retired doctor who had walked the Camino Frances. She could speak little English and I could speak even less Spanish. I explained I needed to find a bed. "Do you have a little money?" she asked, rubbing her fingers together. I said yes. "Come," she beckoned. Next thing she marched me into the Parador, a 4-star hotel. "May I see the manager?" she asked the girl at the desk. When they appeared, they had an exchange in rapid Spanish. I can only assume she said something like, "This is a courageous pilgrim from Scotland who has walked all the way from Seville. Please give him food and shelter." The manager nodded and wrote down the price on a piece of paper. He showed it to me. The sum was less than I had paid in a run-down hostel the previous night. Before I could say "done deal," he added, "And of course, senor, we will include breakfast." Many good things will happen to you, Lillian, as you give yourself to the Camino. The Via della Plata starts magically in Seville. It has a huge cathedral which dominates the centre. Nearby, set in a splendid park, there is a very beautiful Plata España, which looks almost like Venice. Seville is known for its networks of narrow streets, particularly the barrio Santa Cruz. It is also just a few kilometres from Jerez, home of the world's finest sherry producers. In the dozens of tapas bars, sherries both dry and sweet are served. I love them both. Try the dry white manzanilla served ice cold, or the sweet sherry often served after dinner if you have time. Go and see the romantic and exotic flamenco, which has its home in Seville. The route starts outside the cathedral and soon you will pass the Roman ruins at Italica. These herald some of the finest ruins you will see on your way north. After that you will look back at the steep ascent just before you cross the mountain to Castel Blanco de los Arroyos and wonder at the distance you have travelled. Then look forward to see the town to which you will descend. This is an experience with which you will become very familiar in the days ahead. On to Monasterio, then Zafra, where you can have coffee in the Parador, a converted castle. You will see the Roman town of Merida from a long way off. Cross the bridge where I met the angel Anna. I cannot guarantee she will still be there when you arrive. As you leave, you will pass Roman ruins which mark the way to Cáceres, a beautiful hilltop medieval town. The scenery is fabulous, like walking on top of the world. Man-made lakes, sunken villages, wildflowers everywhere. See the cistus plants and rub their leaves and smell incense as if in church. Walk under the huge, lonely Roman arch at Capara. And keep on until you are ascending past the Pico de Dueña on the road to Baños de Montemayor. If someone told you you were in Switzerland, you may very well believe them. Keep on the road and soon you will reach the university town of Salamanca. See the most beautiful Plata in all of Spain. Then on to Zamora, forward you will go. You will see gorgeous scenery, past lakes with ruins, the silence. It can be like heaven. Then to Arenzi with its thermal pool. At this point I had walked 900 kilometres, so when I saw a sign advertising a leg massage, I just gave myself to the serendipity. Then only 3 days to Santiago, punctuated with a visit to the monastery at Osairo, where Graham Greene spent many happy days. and finally to our destination, Santiago. I was elated to have made it, but reluctant to leave the journey behind. Like millions of other pilgrims before me, I put my hand on the tree of Jesse at the entrance of the cathedral. I then, in great procession with the other pilgrims, arose to hug the huge statue of St. James. Then we visited the tomb where the bones of Santiago are said to be laid. All of this ritual is most unlike me, but as I sat at the Pilgrim's Mass, with believers and non-believers alike, I heard the priest announce in the long list of arrivals, one Scotsman who walked from Seville, and my heart swelled with pride. I looked around at pilgrims everywhere, some walking around still with their rucksacks on, or sitting on the ground, priests with walking boots under their vestments, all unified in the common experience of the journey. All of our spirits soared as the mighty boat of Fumairo flew over our heads. I realised in that moment I had left a water and arrived pilgrim.